Good morning, good morning, good morning, everybody. How y'all doing? Let's hop into it. Y'all know it is Math Monday. G-O-O-D-M-O-R-N-I-N-G. Good morning. Good morning, morning. And happy Teacher Appreciation Week to all of my fellow educators that are part of the Teacher Tribe. Thank you guys for everything that you all are continuing to do as we push through this new normal that we're going through. Thank you for everything that you do to make sure that students are still receiving quality instruction. All right, so Math Morning. Today, we're focused on creating multiplication charts to help our students build their fluency, okay? So as we are talking through and moving through the lesson this morning, I want you really to think about those students that are struggling with area. They may be struggling with just basic one digit by one digit multiplication facts, as well as trying to figure out their equivalent fractions. Because a lot of times as students are struggling with the basic multiplication skills, completing assignments that have to do with area or finding equivalent fractions or just multiplying within a word problem to get an answer becomes very tricky for them, okay? So we're keeping those students in mind as we move through this lesson. You're keeping that in mind as you work with your children at home as well, okay? So you usually, when they're struggling and they're frustrated and they're having a hard time completing a math task, it's because their math fluency isn't where it needs to be, okay? So using something like a multiplication chart really helps them. So I would suggest pulling out those facts that they struggle with. For a lot of students, it's usually the 4 facts, the 6 facts, and the 8 facts, okay, that they tend to struggle with. So we're going to pull those groups, the 4, the 6, and the 8, and we're going to make a chart. Now, I start with 3 because a lot of times they know the rule for 0, they know the rule for 1, and they know the rule for 2. But when it gets to 3 and beyond, it gets a little fuzzy, okay, as to what they should do. So this is going to be my times 4 table. So everything on the top is being multiplied by the number 4, and this is my 4 strip. Okay, same thing for 6, the same thing for 8. So I would do 4 times 3, and 4 times 4, 4 times 5, so on and so forth, and I'm going to fill in this entire strip so that all of my answers are inside of that strip. So that way, when I work on a problem that's being multiplied by 4, I can look at my strip to get the answer, okay? Do the same thing with my 6s. Go through each of them and fill in my box so that if I encounter a question and I have to multiply by 6s, whether I am trying to figure out the area or whether I'm trying to figure out equivalent fractions, I can look at this strip for some guidance, okay? And then I'm going to do my 8s. And I'm going to switch so you guys can see because my black marker started fading just a little bit. But 8 times 3, and I'm just going to fill these in, and we're not expecting students to go fast. We want them to make sure they have the correct answer. Okay, so we don't want them to zip through and fill in the strip. If it takes them 15, 20 minutes, right, to fill in the strip, that's okay. If they fill it in wrong, so if you are asking them to fill in the strip, and let's say they did 4 times 6, and they put 23, allow them to make that mistake, allow them to go through, and then have a conversation with them about why that answer is not correct. But don't stop them in their tracks and make them erase and keep on erasing. Don't do that. Allow them to process and work through it and then correct whatever they didn't do the right way. Okay? So, one thing we have to talk about when we talk about multiplication, the position does not change the product. Okay? A lot of times they get confused if it's 3 times 4 and 4 times 3. Right? So we have to begin to have conversations about the position. And I say use yourself and them as an example, right? If I stand right here and you stand beside me, I'm still the mom, you still the child, right? If we switch spots, right? I'm still the mom, you're still the child. The answer is still the same when we talk about multiplication. 3 times 4 equals 12. 4 times 3 equals 12. So don't allow them to get confused by the position. So even though I'm doing my 4 tables, right? Even though I'm doing my strip of 4, if they ask 3 times 4, even though my 4 isn't first, my product is still 12. Okay? So the position does not change the product. Don't be bamboozled. Don't get fooled. Right? 6 times 7 and 7 times 6 is the same. Does not change. Okay? And another thing that they can do as they are filling in their strip, allow them to do repeated addition. And that just means 4 times 3 is 12. All that I'm doing from this point to this point is adding 4 plus 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 4. Right? Because multiplication is just repeated addition. So if they're not ready to solve 3 times 4 this way or this way, right? And we're gonna focus on 4 times 3 because that's what our strip is. So if they're not ready to do 4 times 3, allow them to do 4 plus 4 plus 4. Okay? And once they get 12, encourage them to keep adding 4 to that number. So I get 12, right? And I add 4, I get 16. I add 4 more, I get 20. I add 4 more, I get 24. I add 4 more, I get 28. Okay? So allow them to use different strategies, but make sure that they're filling in this strip. So they may know how to make groups, right? So they may know I have 3 circles and 4 in each group, right? If that's what they know to do, if that's a strategy that they feel comfortable with, allow them to use that strategy, because what we don't want to do is we don't want them to not like what they're learning. So if I'm comfortable with drawing a picture to get to my answer, allow me to draw the picture and then coach me through a better strategy, okay? But I don't ever want to tell them, don't use this or don't use that, okay? The only thing I caution them is to not use their fingers as much. However, if that's your strategy, use your fingers and let me show you how to do something else, okay? So it's not taking away what they're comfortable with. It's using what they're comfortable with and adding a little bit to it, okay? All right, so our strips are filled in, okay? I have my 4 strip, my 6 strip, and my 8 strip. They're all filled in. Now, when I actually get to a multiplication problem, I'm not stressing out because I don't know the answer. I'm looking at this and I'm saying 4 times 9, boom. 4 times 9, 36. Right? I'm taking out all the fingers and drawing the pictures and the guessing game. Like, I'm taking all of that out because my strip is done and I'm using my strip. 7 times 4. I'm not worried about the position. I know that I'm multiplying by 4. I know I have a 4 strip, so I'm going to find those 2 numbers. Right? 7 times 4, 28. Bam. Taking the guesswork out of it. 8 times 3. I know I don't have a 3 strip, but I have an 8 strip. Right? So 8 times 3, 24. 10 times 8. Use my strip, 80. 6 times 9. 6 times 9, 54. Now, you absolutely have to make sure that the answers in your strip are correct before you do it over here, right? Because we have to make sure that this is right, because if we don't do this right, we're going to do this, and this is going to be wrong, okay? So you have to make sure that the answers that are in your strip are right before you use them to figure out your math problem. And this math problem can be written like this. So it could be like 4 times 9, or it could be 4 times 9, or it could be 4 friends had 9 lollipops. How much lollipops did they have? So it's going to be in a variety of ways, but as long as you know how to multiply, as long as you know how to create this strip as one of your tools, then you know it'll be okay. But we have to show them how to create these tools that they can use to get to the answer. Okay? All right. So, quick little recap. So what we're doing today is we're creating a multiplication strip. Okay? If you have students that are struggling with multiplication facts, if you have children that are struggling with multiplication facts, try the multiplication strip. Okay? Make sure that their answers are correct inside of the strip. So that may look like giving them 10 to 15 minutes to fill in a strip, and depending on their level of, depending on how much they know, you may say, okay, do a 4 strip, go from 3 to 10, and you have 7 minutes. Okay? So you may want to, I'm sorry, y'all. It's my cat wanted to make a debut because she's trying to eat something she's not supposed to have. So I had to pick her up so she won't eat it. Live, right? Live. If it's not the children getting in the way of a live video, it's a pet. And she made me forget my train of thought. But what I think I was saying is you want to make sure that they are, that they have the right answers in their strip before they can move to before they can move to actually filling it in to get their answers. Now their answers, like I was saying earlier, their answer can be for just like a simple number sentence, or it can be for figuring out area, or it can be for finding equivalent fractions. But if they're having trouble with multiplying, then they're going to have trouble. More than likely, they're not going to get the right answer if they don't know what 7 times 6 is when they're looking for the area. Okay? So that's why having this strip is so important. Remind them that the position does not change the product, right? If you two are standing beside each other, like I said earlier, just because we change positions doesn't mean that we change titles, right? So just because it's 6 times 7 or 7 times 6, the product is still the same, okay? The answer is still the same. And then if they're having trouble with multiplying, remind them that they can use repeated addition. So in this example, 3 times 4 is 12. If I keep adding 4, right, I can still get to my answer. But I have to make sure that I'm adding the correct number each time. If I was going to do repeated addition for the 6s, I would keep adding 6 every time. Okay? If I was going to do repeated addition for the 8s, I would keep adding 8 every time. Okay? So that was our lesson for today. Sorry that Jamila, that's her name, bombarded us. This is our quarantine cat. We got very, very lonely. So we decided to add to our family, and she wanted to introduce herself to you guys. That's why she decided to come up here and interrupt my live lesson. However, I got to talk for a good little bit, and I know that you all got something out of it. So I will see you guys on Friday for our Fun Friday lesson. Have a marvelous, marvelous Monday, and I'll see you guys next time. Say bye, Jamila. Bye. Thanks for letting me interrupt.